Welcome to the Sports Card Talk Show. Sports Card Talk Show with Kevin Anderson and Lauren Walker, the Skull Brothers.
Welcome to episode 143 of the Sports Card Talk Show. We got a Friday Night Light interview tonight.
Tonight we have Derek at Cheen Collectibles on Instagram joining us.
Yeah.
And he's another Skull Bro, so always excited to talk to another Skull Brother. So
yeah, I've been I noticed that we both like a lot of his stuff on Instagram. I think he does a great job on the pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's like, he posts quite a few Vikings cards, and we're like trying to figure out, okay, well, how does this Vikings connection? Because he's out on the East Coast.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he messaged, I'm gonna have to tell you guys my story one time. Come on, let's hear it. So yeah. Let's do the trivia.
Yeah, let's
then
do
we'll
it.
Dial them up. I had to make sure that we hadn't done this one yet.
Oh, okay.
In 1995, whose number 14 became the fourth retired number in Twins history?
Kent Herbeck.
Yes. In 2008, what receiver hooked up with Gus Frerotte to score a 99-yard touchdown against his former team, the Bears?
Bernard Berrien.
What high-scoring defenseman and St. Paul native was elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2015 after a career that started with the Sabres and ended with the Leafs?
Oh, 2015. St. Paul native?
Yep.
Gosh, dang it.
These darn hockey questions, huh?
Yeah. Don't know.
Phil Housley.
Ugh.
What Raiders Hall of Famer's record for career points did Gary Anderson break while kicking for the Vikings in 2002?
Oh, man, I know this too. Oh, man, he was a quarterback and a kicker. Oh. I cannot think of who is it. I know who it is.
George Blanda.
Oh, I knew that. I knew it, and I just
2 for 2. That's all right though. Trivia is kind of fun. Like I said, I'm glad you like answering them.
I'm gonna have.
I like asking them.
I'm going to have to look into Phil Housley.
Yes. Well, should we dial Derek up?
Ring-a-ling ding dong.
All right, we got Derek dialed up. How are you doing tonight, Derek?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Oh,
hey,
man,
Derek.
we're good. Good to have a fellow Viking fan on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
There you go. For sure.
We're not used to our Viking fans having such a thick Boston accent, man.
Let's try, if we're going to keep this on the card realm of things, I'm definitely of one.
Right. Oh, funny. So, we always like to start with, why don't you talk about your collecting history a little bit, and then we'll get up to today and explain to us how the Vikings became your team.
So my collecting history. So I've been collecting since I was a kid. I kind of like stopped, I want to say probably 14 or 15, 16 years old I stopped. Collecting history, my father, my grandfather, I'm a third generation collector. My grandfather actually passed away a couple months ago, and he had like all kinds of Ted Williams stuff. So that stuff kind of shifted towards me. They knew I was the guy, as you can kind of see behind me, all my junk, as I call it. I started collecting Ted Williams as a kid. I had a local card shop in Taunton, Massachusetts called Downtown Taunton Card Shop. It went out of business, I want to say, in like 2010. Came back in 2012. It kind of burnt out. It just wasn't the same feel. So when that went away, I was kind of getting older. I was towards my later high school years, and then in college, obviously, I didn't have the money I do now. So I moved back. I moved down to Florida for college in 2014. Ended up staying here. Got a job, and then I was like, you know what? Like, I've seen my dad's man cave. I've seen my grandfather's man cave growing up. I want a man cave. So it started with buying jerseys and more pictures. And like, obviously I had some of the signed stuff that I had from a kid. I had a lot of my cards from when I was a kid still. I was always big on Boston sports and Vikings. Randy Moss was my guy. He's been my guy since '98. A lot of my Moss stuff I picked up. His stuff went way down when the Vikings traded him to Oakland. That first year, I think he had like 60 catches for 1,005 yards. Decent year for most wide receivers for Randy Moss. When you've seen the guy put up 17 touchdowns, 1,400 yards, like wasn't a very good thing. And then that second year with the Marcus Tuisapos, Andrew Walters, Kerry Collins of the world throwing to him, he was just completely checked out. I picked up a bunch of Randy Moss autos, probably like in the range of $20 to $40. Like it was crazy. Now they're pushing like 150 to $500 a card, depending on what you're looking at. Some of them are in the thousands, depending on what rookies you're looking at. But yeah, I picked up a lot of my Moss stuff. Then my New England stuff. I remember selling off a lot of my stuff towards high school, but I kept like my core stuff intact. So anything typically Randy Moss, Vikings, Red Sox, Patriots, Celtics, Bruins. Not as much Bruins, but I do have a little bit here and there. And then, so like I said, when I came back down here, I started buying more like 8x10s and jerseys and whatnot. And then I realized quickly ran out of wall space. So that's kind of where my interest in cards came back. And I think I came in at the right time again because everything was still kind of low. And I've been able to flip a lot of the stuff. Like I bought stuff like, I don't even know why I bought it. Like Brandon Cook's RPAs, like David Johnson, just stuff that I found ending cheap on eBay. And I've recently just sold all that off. I've made like probably 35%. I don't want to sound like those flipper guys, but there's money to be made. I'm a full blown collector, but it was stuff I had no emotional attachment to. Yep. So I pushed it to the side, sold it, got like a 30 to 40% return, and then that allowed me to get more PSA stuff. Vintage cards have lately been getting in, so I'm sure you guys have seen on my Instagram, like Ted Williams, because my grandfather, I'm super collecting Ted Williams, keeping his legacy going. Viking stuff, like I picked up the other day, I picked up a Fran Tarkenton 1963 PSA, second year in the league. This is actually going to go to my dad next time I see him. He's still up north in Boston. 1963 was actually his birth year, and I saw this. I got it cheap. I knew a guy that I had gone through for some of my other vintage Red Sox stuff. Picked it up, so that's going to be going to my father. Fun fact about my father: he's actually, we call him like in my whole family and like all of my friends. It's pretty funny. So I'm only 27 years old, but we all refer to my dad as the Big Viking. And it's weird. Like we thought this nickname only came probably 15 years ago, but I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago, I was home for Christmas and we were putting up the tree, going through ornaments. I found this like vintage Vikings ornament, and it was, I don't even know what kind of one it had. It was like string on it or something, and on the back in Sharpie it says "To the Big Viking, 1972." I'm like, what the heck is this? I asked my dad, and I'm like, he's like, oh yeah, your uncle gave that to me. So I called my Uncle Gary, and he's like, oh yeah, I've been calling you Dad the Big Viking since like the 70s, because that's when he originally became a Vikings fan. So my dad, probably between like ages 7 to 10, became a Vikings fan. How it happened was, obviously the Patriots weren't very good at that time. I think my brother takes after him, so like it's always been try to be the different one. So Dylan was always a Cowboys fan, a Mets fan, like any team to be away from the norm. So with my dad got a football almanac from my grandfather back in the day, and he liked the Vikings purple and gold uniforms. He ended up being on a championship boys and girls club floor hockey team that were also the Vikings, and since then I've been bleeding purple and he's been bleeding purple. So that's kind of where it all originated from. And the first sporting event I can think of is, unfortunately, the 1998 NFC Championship game.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the people. I was 5 years old. I remember the people that were in the house. I remember Gary Anderson missing that field goal. Didn't miss one all year. And to this day, I still think they would have absolutely annihilated the Broncos in the Super Bowl had they gone. With that offense, with the Klein Saucers, the Chris Carters, the Robert Smiths, the Randy Moss, Cunningham, like this team was disgusting. So yeah, that's kind of where the Vikings fandom and collecting stuff came into play.
What's funny is I've heard Broncos, I don't know who it was, but I've heard Broncos players say that they were celebrating after Atlanta because they didn't think they stood a chance against the Vikings. I don't know which player it was, or players, but I've heard Broncos admit that.
Yeah, I believe it. That offense was unbelievable. Like the wide receiver talent. Like I don't know where you can find better. Who was the three that year? Was it Jake Reed or was it Anthony Carter?
It was Jake Reed. Yep,
Jake Reed. So yeah. That's silly.
Yeah.
And you had role guys like Jim Kleinsaucer just did their part with on the tight end and the fullback game. So that's just an absolute complete team. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you're looking at guys like John Randall. Just craziness.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that team to me was the best team that had a chance to win a Super Bowl in my life. That was the one that hurt the worst. The 2009 title game didn't hurt as bad as that one. That one hurt too, though.
Yeah, that one definitely hurt. And you don't even hurt too. And I can't even believe I'm saying this. I don't even know what year it was. I don't even want to think. I just remember punching a wall. Blair Walsh missed a 27-yard. Seattle. And that wasn't even that good of a team. But that just getting back to the playoffs after all that, like that, and he was like automatic that year too. He kicked all those 50-yarders, and
oh man, dude! I wasn't even looking at the screen when it happened, and my brother's like, "Oh no!" And I'm like, well, I assumed the kick was going in. We won the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that one was shocking to me. That was a jaw dropper. Quite honestly, whenever you miss that kick, we sat there for like I don't know, 30, 40 seconds. My brother got up, he shut off the TV, and no one said anything in the house for like a while. It was just like quiet.
Yeah, my dad took a Vikings hat on. He threw his hat, picked it up, put it back on, threw it again. And my buddy was at my house, and he left. He didn't even stay for the late game. He kept never watching football at your house ever again.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's good. So it must have been a pretty good feeling when Moss ended up in New England, then, huh? That was one of your teams too? Yeah,
so that was awesome. But again, like you said, the 1998 team was a heartbreaker. It was heartbreaker times 2 for me in 2007. So that season, obviously we broke all. That was probably the best offense that I had ever seen since 1998. That team, my dad actually went to the Super Bowl that year, and he was sitting in the end zone that Plaxico Burress caught the game winner in.
Oh, wow.
So he hasn't gone to the Super Bowl since then, and he said he never will go again because of that. And he had been to the last 3 Patriots wins. Super Bowl 36, 38, and 39. But yeah, he just ever since then he's done. But again, Super Bowl being in Tampa this year, and being in Tampa, Tom Brady being down here. I bought season tickets because now I'm a bandwagon Buccaneers fan too because Gronk and Brady. The Super Bowl's here, so I'm hoping all this COVID stuff clears up for the Super Bowl because I mean it'd be an awesome experience to be able to actually go. And literally, I live right down the street from the stadium, so it'd be a cool experience to go with my dad. And
yeah, that'd be awesome.
How do season tickets work when they're not letting anybody in the stadium?
So they gave me an option. It was kind of cool. So they allowed me to push the tickets to next year, which I did, or I could run the risk this year of just having them, and then you kind of they were talking about doing like a couple games per season ticket holder, but like it's going to be based on seniority. So being the new guy in the block, like it makes no sense for me to do that. So I pushed it to next year, and my account rep was like, "Listen, we're going to keep all your season ticket privileges, so you're still going to have access to your seats." And honestly, the one game I had penciled in was they're playing in December, so hopefully the Vikings will be able to come here and I'll get to go to that game. I'm still going to have first right of refusal for my seats, so hopefully by then we can go. The big thing I'm looking at though is playoffs. So the playoff tickets, I have first right of refusal to begin with. So I'm keeping all my season ticket perks for this year. It's just I don't have my actual season tickets. I have like my seats are available, so they're gonna come to me and say, "Hey, listen, the Vikings are playing in December. Do you want these tickets?" And then I just have to pay out of pocket. It's like I'm a season ticket holder, but I have no deposit essentially. My deposit
gotcha. Yep.
pushed to 2021.
Yep.
And who knows? And I looked at it too as like if I want this privilege because God forbid the Buccaneers go to the Super Bowl, I want to be in that lottery for a chance to buy them.
Yeah.
So that was my whole logic behind pushing. And I was like, that just doesn't make sense. Like the tickets are already paid off, so why am I gonna?
Yep.
Unless I'm strapped for cash, like it just doesn't make sense. I'll roll the dice and take my chances on 2021.
For sure, yeah. Awesome.
I haven't even looked at the schedule yet this year. I didn't know that. So we must be playing. Are we playing the AFC South, or are we just playing the Buccaneers out of the South? Or NFC South, rather.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the Vikings schedule. I know the Bucs had a crazy. That was another reason too. So I actually convinced my buddy from back home. So when Brady, I was trolling Twitter, like when they were like Chargers. Because none of my buddies from college here wanted to go in with me. And I'm like, all right. So I got my buddy JD on the phone. I'm like, I've been friends with this kid since we were in diapers. I'm like, JD, we gotta buy Bucks tickets if Brady comes. He's like, dude, I don't live there. It doesn't make sense. I'm like, you come down here a few times a year, like pick the games you want, we'll sell the rest. So the first thing was like, all right, this is a good way to make some extra cash. Like, no, I'm a football fan. That's stupid logic. I'm not going to be able to sell them. I'm not going to be able to part with my tickets. And that's exactly what happened. So Brady, so first thing, like I forget, I think it was like, I forget it might have been Cowherd. Cowherd, I think he's the one who first reported, oh, Brady to the Bucs, done deal. So I get my buddy on the phone and he's like, dude, it's not true. Like they're speculating. He's probably going to the Chargers. You know, he's got the California connection. Like LA, like his wife's a model. Like I'm telling you, he's coming to the Buccaneers. So then there was reports the night before it broke on ESPN. He was in Tampa there's a steakhouse in Tampa called Burn Steakhouse. It's like a prestige steakhouse. And there was reports that he was there with Derek Jeter, Bill Gates, and Jeff Vinnick, who's a minority owner of the Boston Red Sox and the full owner of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Bill Gates actually invested they're doing like a whole ecosystem in downtown Tampa where it's called Water Street. So it's a big like property management company. They have it's right on the water, a Sparkman Wharf. It's like beer gardens and all kinds of different food shops. It's a cool spot. But they were all out to eat. And I'm like, dude, like there's no way this dude flew to Tampa in the middle of a pandemic if he's not coming here. And supposedly that was the meal that him and Jeter were discussing. He was going to stay on Jeter Island down in he's got his oceanfront property down there, and that was exactly it. So he was like, I don't believe it. So I'm like all day I'm on Ticketmaster because I'm like, if this breaks on ESPN, it's going to be stupid. This is going to be the highest demand for Buccaneers tickets in the history of the franchise.
Oh yeah. So
he's still like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not in. Next thing you know, it breaks on ESPN. I'm like, he's like, we got to do this. So he's like on TikTok, like 8,000 people in front of him. And he's like, I'm so pissed. Like we should have done it. And so I opened my computer. Someone was watching over me. My Ticketmaster was still open. I was in there and I grabbed them, got my end zone seats right on the tunnel. And we became Buccaneers season ticket holders. And
awesome.
So it's been pretty fun, other than the fact that we don't know when we can actually go to a game.
All that excitement to be like, we're
season ticket holders. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So are we going to start seeing a lot more whatever? What do they call it? Pewter and what?
Pewter? Yeah, I don't even. I don't know.
I know that it's so funny because I feel like a lot of Buccaneers fans call themselves pewter poles or pewter this, or it's the pewter that they identify with, not the orange, not the red, not the.
And they were going to bring back the creamsicles. That would have been sweet.
Yeah, I was just thinking that would be pretty sweet.
For whatever reason, whenever I even heard that that Tom Brady was going to the Buccaneers, I didn't picture him in the new Tampa Bay Buccaneer uniform. I pictured him in the creamsicle.
That's right. Yeah, it's like legendary.
Yeah.
So I think you had mentioned that you had a couple of pieces you were going to show off.
Yeah.
So do that.
So, all right. Yeah, so we can do this. So this is the first card my father ever purchased me. So it's a 1998 Randy Moss. Let's see what brand. I think it's a Skybox. It's a Skybox. I got this probably in like 2000. One of the first 2 cards my father ever bought me. So we got a Randy Moss rookie card, and I got a Pedro Martinez patch. Going back to my Randy Moss PC. Let's see what we got here. What do you want first? You want the autos? You want patches?
Let's do. What do you want to do?
Let's do the patches because the autos are,
All right, so we'll go through. I got a bunch of stuff here. We'll start with patches, and then we'll get into the auto. So this is a cool one. I got this one dirt cheap back when Moss and stuff wasn't that hot. Piece of the logo.
Oh yeah.
Panini. This is when Panini was actually doing game use, so hopefully they kind of get back to that sometime soon.
Right.
They're doing jersey swaps this year, so I mean, I hope they have more uniforms they can cut up. But that was a cool one. Another swatch. I think this was 2010. Flashback Fabrics. That card shop I was talking about earlier. This is like I remember I bought this for $10. I don't even know how. Like right now. All right, so it's an 03 Leaf certified, a fatty Randy Moss. Beauty. 25. So that was a cool one. Let's see. And then I just got some other stuff. So like just other Randy Moss stuff, like triple threads. Another thing, $10 pickups way back in the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
He was gone. Stuff is just blown up, and then just kind of like I'll kind of save. This is a cool one too. I don't even remember when I got this. This was 2008 Donruss Gridiron Gear. It's a Vikings Pats one.
Oh.
Like it's got all kinds of crap on it. I have no idea what that is. But
yeah,
it's got the Patriots and the Vikings on it. So that was always something that stuck out to me.
That's a great card for you.
Yeah. So Randy Moss stuff has been my main PC. I have collected like here's just some of the. Obviously, I've already showed you off the Fran Tarkenton.
Yes.
That's right. That's a 1963. And then just random pickups like I got an AP, a rookie graded.
Oh, yep.
And then going back into Moss, I like this one a lot. It says 1998 Skybox Destroyers, Randy Moss.
Oh, nice.
Rookie. 1998 Topps Finest, the Super Bowl edition, Randy Moss rookie.
Oh, yeah.
And then this one's been blowing up. This is a 1998 Topps Chrome, Randy Moss 9.
I was going to say it must be the Topps Chrome because those things are.
That one's been blowing up, but again, like it doesn't even matter because it's like my tickets. I can't part with any of this stuff. Like,
yeah, right.
And this one, someone told me, I don't know how true this is, but the 1998 Black Diamond rookie, the gem on this one is real hard. So I mean, that was one I picked up pretty recently too.
I think with that foil, with the foil on it, I think that is a hard grade.
That's what I heard too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got those, and then just kind of smaller stuff like Moss E-Tops, just anything shiny. That was kind of something that I always looked into when I was a kid.
Yep.
I've had this one for a while. This is a what is this? 2001.
I'm surprised that E-Top stuff isn't catching on more because it's always real shiny, you know.
Yeah, I would think. I have a couple of those, but like E-Tops. Like I wish they would put more of that stuff out, like nowadays, compared to like what they used to have. Let me see what else I got. So these are just some random, couple more patches. This is I got a local card shop in Tampa that I didn't even know existed until like 2 weeks ago. Jared Allen patch. So Jared Allen was my guy too. On the wall, I don't know if you can see it somewhere over there. Oh, it's right above it's the shoulder right here. Nope, wrong one. That shoulder right there. That's Jared Allen sacking Tim Tebow underneath.
Oh yeah,
nice.
I think I actually have a football card of that.
Really?
With that picture, yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the ones I bought when I came back to Tampa. But yeah, so just some kind of other. I rolled out the red carpet for the Viking stuff. So here we got an Adam Thielen mini helmet. He's been my guy.
Oh yeah.
Last couple of years, and then Harry the Hitman. He's my guy on defense. So
Nice.
their defense this year is going to be stacked with that guy they just got from Jacksonville. So I'm very excited about that.
Oh yeah.
Him and Daniil Hunter. It's going to be silly. But just random autos right here. Anthony Barr, Xavier Rhodes, rest in peace. Daniil Hunter. I picked up a couple of Dalvins. I hope he stays healthy because I drafted him in fantasy this year. So
yeah, I hope so.
he'd be huge. Going back to the 98 team, Robert Smith. Kevin Williams, Contenders rookie. Fleer, Chris Carter autographics. This is a 2019 Prestige. I actually pulled this last year. Randall McDaniel was a cool one.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
my boy from the early 2000s. Dante, get your roll on. This was a cool one. A Panini VIP. Randall Cunningham on card. Going back to that 98 team. And then with the beefy autos, we got, let's see here, 2013 Topps 5-star. I wish the grade was a little better. This is an AP. So an AP.
Oh yeah.
I love 5-star.
5-star is an awesome product.
Yep.
I got a 2012 Panini Momentum AP. A little bit better of a grade on that one.
Oh yep.
And then this has been my most recent AP. 2009 Upper Deck Signature Shots.
Oh,
and then you boys ready for this one? This is the big time right here. This is a lot of this stuff I had gotten, like, we'll start with the older stuff. This was the first Randy Moss autograph, and this is kind of a cool story with this one that I ever got. So this is a 2000 Flair Autographics Randy Moss on card. I remember, I was probably in 6th grade. I went to that local card shop that used to be in Taunton, and the guy's name was Joel, and I was like, I need that Moss, and it was like $60 at the time. I wish it was still $60.
Right.
A lot of them, and I was in middle school, and I didn't have a job yet, so he's like, I was like, what can I do? What can I trade you? And the guy was like, listen, man, it's $60. Just figure it out. I was like, hey, a layaway plan, I'll pay it. So I go in there one day, and he's like, you'll never believe it. And I'm like, what? He's like, this guy came in here. He said, he is Randy Moss. He is Randy Moss. He's the number one Randy Moss guy in Massachusetts. And I'm like getting offended. I'm like, there's no shot. I'm the number one Randy Moss guy in New England. Let's not even get it. He's like, yeah, he bought it. So I'm all pissed, right? So this was probably in October, November. I wake up Christmas morning. What's in my stocking? That guy, that number one Randy Moss guy was my father.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was my first Randy Moss auto. And then over the times, I picked up, this was a 1998 Rookie Ink Player's Edge.
Oh, yep.
That was cool. Private signings, Don Russ. This is 99. Jeez, this is way back. If I could just figure out how to.
There you go.
That was a cool one. This was SP Authentic Players Inc. This was 99. 1999. Going back to the Beckett slabs, 1999 Flair Mystique Moss on card.
It's so nice.
And then let's see, this is another Collector's Edge. I think this is 99 too. But yeah, I stockpiled these. I'd go to the local flea market and I'd buy them, and they were cheap. And then most recently, this is probably my favorite one, just because I cared about Moss more than any athlete, I think, of all time. So this was his Hall of Fame auto. You can't even get these anymore. So these were they handed these out at the National, I think, in those those 2-card packs or whatever.
Yep.
50 of these. So they went on. I haven't seen one on eBay in probably 6 to 8 months.
Wow.
They're just going to be locked away in PCs. And then this is weird too. So I was home last year, and I saw a guy in Taunton selling this is a 2002 Playoff Prime Signatures, and so I bought it, and I got it relatively cheap. And I was like, this is weird. And it was shipping from Taunton, Massachusetts. I was like, what? This guy who worked out at my gym actually owned this card before I owned it, which is just weird.
That's funny.
My most recent Moss pickup is a 2020 Luminance. And that caps off all the Moss autos, and hopefully I hit like Powerball or something so I can buy more.
Yeah, you'll need that now. No more market fines on that.
Yeah, I'm not going to get them for $40 to $60.
No. No.
I know that when I got back into the hobby, 5-6 years ago, it took me a while before I wanted to spend Moss money.
Yeah.
And then it was like, you're always getting out. It's like you kind of I was always setting my ceiling at about $100.
Yeah.
And now you can't touch them for even that anymore.
You're looking 150 plus.
Yeah.
That was how I got the Luminance. Like the stuff I told you I was selling off earlier. I was like, I'm the same way. Like I can't, like even if I have the money, like I could do so many things better, like financially with that money, whether it's paying down debt or whatever, than spending $200 on a Randy Moss card. So that's right. All the stuff I bought when I got right into it, and I just sold it. Next thing you know, I had like $300. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't care about this stuff. It's just taking up space. Like, I might as well go get a Moss. And then I saw the Luminance, and I was like, yep, this is it.
Yeah, get something you want. That's a great way to do it, man.
Yeah.
We actually talked to several people in the last little bit that have all said the same thing. I'm selling the stuff that doesn't mean too much to me and loading up on the stuff that does.
And that's it. That's the biggest thing, you know. But I just hate being like I work in sales, so like just going out there, like this is supposed to be fun for me. If I'm like getting aggressive on eBay trying to get low deals and flip them, it's just like, all right, it's getting crazy. But it works. It works, and I can see how people go to Walmart and buy 600 bottles retail and then flip them for 3 times. Like it sucks because like if that was going on when I was a kid, like I might not be collecting. Like in the product, like it just sucks. So I get why they're doing it, but it's kind of. I mean, I don't like them doing that, but
I just a week ago sold a Mike Evans card on ComC that I paid $5 for a year ago, and I thought it was way undervalued at that time. I listed it. I flipped the price to $30 some dollars. I sold it this week for like $32. My profit was, or my take on after their fees was like $31.
Yeah, so, it's funny you say that because so I did the same thing. Like I bought a 101 Mike Evans rookie printing plate auto. All right, the guy screwed up too, so I hope he doesn't see this and like tracks me down. He sent me the wrong one, so I bought it. But same thing. Like I was seeing Mike Evans and being in Tampa. Like if you look at Mike Evans' stats. There's only one guy who's done what he's done through 6 seasons, and that's 6 straight. It's Randy Moss. So, like, you see what's going on with Randy Moss stuff. Mike Evans, now you're going to put him with Tom Brady. He's going to get a lot more primetime games. He's going to get more exposure. And if you look at the numbers, he's a future Hall of Famer if he keeps this up for another 4 or 5 years.
Right.
But with his cards, completely undervalued. So I bought a bunch of his rookie autographs too. I bought one. I sold one. I think it was his second year, actually. It was like a prestige. I paid like $6 for it. And I sold it for like $40. So like, I see exactly what you're saying there. But going back to the one of one, so I bought a rookie auto him because Mike Evans, like I like Mike Evans, like being in Tampa, like all right. Actually, funny story. So this is kind of crazy. So when I don't know if he lives in my building or what's going on. So in COVID, like a bunch of stuff, like the first like you know how it went down, like all hell broke loose. No, especially in Florida, like no one knew what the heck was going. They still don't know what's going on, but. I didn't leave my apartment for weeks because I'm getting notes on my door. It's like, hey, someone tested positive in your building. Like, you know, we can't tell you who it is, where they are, what building they're in, what floor they're in. Like, it's like, all right, don't even put the note on my door then because just everyone panic. Like, this is not helpful at all. So I was like, you know what? So one of my clients at work, he owns a meal prep company. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna use this time to get healthier. So I was like, I need you to get me on your meal prep. And he's like, all right, cool. So he was dropping off my food for me. So I was rarely leaving this place, just if I had to go get incidentals or whatever.
Yep.
And so I'm walking down the hallway one day, and it's so quiet, you could hear like a pin drop. and I'm hearing someone in the garage like struggling. So I figured it must have been like an old lady like with groceries or something, like struggling. And I opened the door up, and it's freaking Mike Evans. He's got a bunch of football equipment. It's cool. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, and I'm in like shock. I'm like, what the heck? And I had seen him. He was just a big guy, like down the hallway. I don't know if it's his trainer or his girlfriend or whatever. I was like, this is insane. And like, I'm talking to him, and like, I don't even know what the heck going on. I got off the phone. I got off the floor. I got in my car. I called my father. I'm on the phone. He's like, did you tell him you bought me his jersey when I bought Bucks season tickets for you? I was like, no, I panicked. I didn't know what to say. Like, I've had a conversation with like anyone off like PlayStation in 2 weeks. Are you kidding me? But yeah, like, so Mike Evans, like, buy low with the stuff. But the guy sent me a 1-of-1 printing plate auto, rookie auto of him. I paid like $20. I don't know what it's going for now, but like, you got to think, like, you got to make some return on that.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
It eventually. But I mean, he's a guy I think you just hold on to, because like, who the heck knows 10 years from now what?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I buy nothing but Viking cards, so I whenever I'm on ComC and I'm just screwing around on the site, I'll see some cards that I'm like, that's just too cheap, so I'll buy it, and then I'll list it for what I listed it for $30 some last year.
Yeah,
I don't even pay attention to what the prices are on the cards that I list.
yeah.
So maybe I should go back and recheck my because I sold like I jumped on my ComC one day, sign in. I'm like, what the heck? I got $108 in my account. The last time I was in there, it was like under 10. So I sold him. I sold some Alvin Kamaras, and then I'm not buy cards that that are undervalued, and if you flip them for the price that you think they're worth, I mean, that's just putting money. I don't see anything wrong with that. I find a lot less wrong with that than I find, the guys that wipe out the whole whole display at the Walmart.
I couldn't bring myself to doing it. Like, it's funny. So when I was home, I went up to Boston in June and July, and I went to Walmart, and it was like the first time I had seen like a full like display of like optic like in probably 3 years. And I like walked by, and I was like, all right, I kind of want to buy this whole thing out. And I was like, nah, I can't be that guy. And I just walked by and didn't buy anything. And then by the time I went back, it was gone. And I was like, all right, I should have done it. Like,
yeah,
the money grab. Like, and they don't care. Like, just do it, move it. But it's just the young collector in me wanted that $60 Randy Moss that got screwed over by the biggest Moss fan in New England.
That's a good story. I like that one.
Yeah, I love that story.
Yeah. Well, man, we're gonna give you a minute to have people tell them how to find you. I think you had mentioned just about Twitter. So, are you on Twitter under the same name, or is it a different name? Or
yeah, I don't use Twitter much.
I'm on there. I'm like, well, I don't think we're following you, but we don't use it much either.
Yeah, Twitter I barely use, but Sheen Collectibles and Instagram is my main thing. I'm pretty active on there, and like, I want to encourage people, like, if they're young collectors or whatnot, if they got questions. Lately, people have just been reaching out to me, asking me like, just what stuff is worth. Should they do this? Should they do that? Yes. Like, if you don't always look at like, all right, the price of a card, or like, collect what you like. Like, it's supposed to be fun. Like, don't be the guy who spends thousands of dollars on Zion Williamson or Jason Dominguez and pray to Jesus that like he's gonna be good. And like, Jason Dominguez is 16 years old. Like, he might be the next Mike Trout. He might not be. He might be some scrub. And then I don't see like these people. I like another crazy one I saw was some guy last year had bought I think it was a Jarrett Stidham 1-of-1 RPA for like $9,000. Like, why? Even if he's the next Tom Brady, how much return are you going to get on a $9,000 card if that's your end goal? Unless you love Jarrett Stidham and he's like your guy, or he was your next door neighbor and you played in the sandbox with him as a kid. Like, I'm not advised doing that.
Right.
collect what you like. And I mean, I that's the only thing I could say to people like nowadays. Go for the guys you like. Don't jump into the hype of, all right, let's buy a bunch of Prism base cards of Otto Porter Jr. and pray to God.
Right.
It's funny you say that because that's whenever like I still like Stephon Diggs. He left for Buffalo, but Stephon Diggs has given me one of the greatest memories of my whole life. That miracle catch, no matter what Stephon Diggs did after that, I love his cardboard. And
as well.
I got a ton of it. And now that he's with the Bills, I still like those cards. I probably won't ever get rid of them. He'd probably have to do something really bad,
right.
jail time kind of stuff, bad stuff for me to maybe fall off the bandwagon. But yeah, there's very little bit of my cardboard that I regret buying, because it's what I like.
That's it. And that's the key. And that's just the biggest thing nowadays. People they look at it and I'm not saying it's a bad idea to invest. I get it. But again, the card market, for example, Randy Moss, who would have thought a $20 or $40 Randy Moss autograph card, that was 2006. So 14 years ago is now going to go for $300. But it could fluctuate too. If you look at Randy Moss's stats from 98 to 04, even if he retired then, he probably still would have been a Hall of Famer. When he left Minnesota, he had 90 touchdowns. So he was fringe and he was a stud. But I liked Randy Moss, so it didn't matter. I never looked at it as a value thing.
Right.
I would never regret it. I would have regretted if when I left the hobby in my high school years, if I sold all my Randy Moss stuff. There's some of the stuff that I sold, I'm still kicking myself over because it was just dumb. I moved a bunch of Kevin Garnett stuff that I never should have moved. I moved a bunch of Tom Brady stuff I never should. Those are guys that I idolized. One of the things I've kept though, I remember when I was I went to Patriots. I got it somewhere. It's in back here, but it's a plaque and it says Super Bowl 36 MVP and it has a Tom Brady rookie card in it. I remember my father bought it for me for $10 at minicamp 2002 after they won the Super Bowl. Wow. And I don't even know, my dad said, why don't you take that apart and get it graded and see what it's worth? And one, I'm petrified. I don't go get stuff because the fear of the unknown of actually sending stuff out and not knowing if it's going to come back. I'm sure it will with all their insurance stuff. But I don't know. I've never been one to actually, I'd rather buy stuff graded. All right, just send it here and call it in. My dad was just take it out of the thing and get it graded. I'm nah, you bought it for me in the plaque. Yeah. So if that plaque disintegrates, it's staying in the plaque.
Right.
We actually did our first submission. We did it sometime in May, and we're still waiting for that to come back. We are
a horror story. I don't even want to hear that. I'd be sweating for months.
Based on another guy that we watch, Fairweather Cards, he did a submission around the same time, and he finally was like, well, it's saying mid-October, and I'm like, oh, I don't even want to look. We're not sending emails. We're not doing anything. When it comes. And plus, I want to show people, that's what really happens. If you're going to send it out individually, that's what really happens.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing bulk submission or, you got some type of big presence, that's what's going to happen to you.
Exactly. And
we are gearing up. That was with the SGC. We are gearing up to do a PSA submission here soon because we want to, aside from us kind of wanting to do it, but also it's also a journey for us to do it for the show as well. So, and then obviously, I'm sending in some. I'm shooting to send in some Kobe's, and if they come back, they're $1,000 cards. So I'm just
and that's the thing. My father. So when I was home, so I was up in New England. He's like, "Can you go through my stuff and see if I have anything?" Or he goes, "I want to get stuff graded." I was like, "Really?" He's like, he goes, "Yeah." He goes, I have my stuff everywhere. Can you at least look through them? So I found he must have bought like a mystery pack in the mid 2000s. And I found it and I was going through. I'm like, "Do you know you had this?" He's like, "No." So I'm going through it and I find an Aaron Rodgers Bowman rookie card. And I'm like, Dad, we should get this graded. This is probably worth a couple $100. And he's like, I don't care about that. He's like, throw it out. I'm like, dude, no, that's not how it works. That went out in early.
I mean, it was a Packers card. I think you could have,
Yeah, he wanted to burn it. And like, so I put it up on Instagram. I was like, hey, my father said he doesn't care about this, because a bunch of people messaged me. They're like, if he doesn't want it, I'll take it off your hands. I'm like, no. I was like,
I'm sure you did get a few people.
Yeah, they were all hitting me up. They were trying to take the low-hanging fruit, which I don't blame them. But we set out to get graded. That was early July, and we just got the notification that it took it was marked delivered, I want to say like July 10th. We didn't get the actual submission acceptance until early to mid-August, and they're still not graded. It's on step 4 of 10 or whatever. And
which one is that with?
What did you say? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
With PSA or BGS?
It was PSA. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like isn't SGC down in Florida somewhere?
I think
so. There's a guy who he does a lot. I'm sure you guys have seen InvestiCard.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of SGC, and the turnarounds have been relatively fast. So I mean, I'm sure he's doing he's probably on some preferred plan with them because he does.
Yeah.
But the turnarounds have been very quick with this. That's what I've heard too. I've heard SGC has been the quickest. It's just with a brand like SGC, they've been around a while. I just don't know how people view them. I have some SGC stuff, but is that going to be 10 years ago? Is that going to be as preferred as a BGS or a PSA?
What we've seen in the hobby is PSA is kind of king. SGC, I believe, has surpassed Beckett, haven't they?
Yeah.
BGS is kind of fallen before, a few years ago, whenever I got into the hobby, a BGS 9.5 would sell for more than a PSA 10. Now PSA 10 is preferred over that, and SGC 10s are preferred over that, it seems like.
Yeah.
And but SGC made some real headway by having that quick turnaround, but then they got flooded, and now they're looking at 3-4 months back to people who are doing small submissions.
We'll be on 6 months if it comes in October.
That's great.
InvestiCard, he's doing those group submissions where he's sending in probably hundreds, if not thousands of cards at a time. Yeah. And he's, like you said, on a preferred plan where our cards are probably getting bumped for every one of his submissions,
Well, yeah, but that's the crazy thing. I agree with you though. BGS, I don't even look. I have some BGS, and but when I buy now, I bought recently a Ted Williams. It was like a 1987. It looked like turkey red, but it was like a 1987 postcard sign. It's PSA. Everything I've been getting lately has just been PSA. Last BGS one was actually the AP. That's the last real one I really looked at, but it's just been BGS lately. BGS has kind of fell off. I hope SGC just holds its value though, because who the heck knows?
I think they've made enough inroads to become part of the big three. I think there's room for more gradings. If another grading service could pop up, and
we should start it. Us 3.
Yeah. There you go.
I honestly think that they got to come up with a computer program that you put the card under into a scanner type thing, and the machine does all the work, grades the card out, because grading is subject to whether or not a guy's having a bad day or not while he's looking at your card, or I think this is a 9 today, and he had a good night the night before, and the next day he comes in, he's like, everything's a 10. So
Russell Wilson in fantasy throws 2 picks. Yeah, this is a 6.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. So you always hear people who rip on grading on cards that are getting graded. It's like you're basing this on somebody else's opinion of your card. I can tell you what the card, I can tell you that this card looks nice. I can tell you this card's got a dinged corner, but and you're paying somebody for that opinion, you know. So I know, to me, I understand both sides of the argument. You know, if you're keeping it in your own PC, who cares what the grade is? But if you're looking to actually authenticate the card, you know, there's a lot of counterfeits out there too.
Like with my vintage stuff, like I recently, a guy reached out to me. He was trying to sell me a Ted Williams card, and he's like $100. I'm like, dude, you're not graded. It's not graded. And I was like, and on top of it, I see a PSA 4 that just sold for $40. He goes, all right, $40. I was like, your card isn't graded. Like, I don't know if it's a 4. I don't even know if it's real. Like, how? So, I mean, I see the side of the argument where, like, a lot of my stuff I don't, like, particularly care, because the people I buy from are going to have reputable backgrounds, whether it's on eBay or COMC. But, like, the vintage stuff and, like, the autographs that you're just buying from Joe Schmo, like,
yeah,
peace of mind, you know, especially if you're spending money.
For sure.
Yeah, I know that part of our SGC submission, I sent off, was it 3 Fran Tarkenton? I sent off 3 Fran Tarkenton rookie cards.
That's awesome.
And I got them all pretty decent price on eBay.
Yeah.
And I got them before I started I got them probably a year before I started seeing people selling reprints on eBay. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope these, they look pretty, they look kind of vintage, but I've also seen people sell vintage worn reprints. So I'm going, oh my God. So I am nervous as can be, but half the reason I sent them in too is to authenticate them, you know?
That's the thing. And like that's what I'm scared of. Like, for example, recently, like this guy, I kind of got into him with eBay, and I was like defending other people because it was like a Tom Brady rookie autograph, and it was like ending soon. I saw it, and it was like, wow, like this is crazy. It was only like $400. And then he has in the thing, reprint or original, it says unknown. So I called him out. I'm like, dude, this is a fake. And he's like, he goes, no, it's unknown. Like, I looked at your history. Like, you're pumping and dumping these out. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, so, I mean, that's the scary part when you're buying older stuff. Like, you just don't know.
For sure.
Yeah, I hate it whenever they say they don't know. When they say they don't know, they know. I was going after the 84 Fleer update, Kirby Puckett, his 84 Fleer update rookie card, or XRC or whatever you want to call it. And I'd come across these listings, and it would say unknown, rookie card, but listing it as a reprint because we do not know if it's like, it's a reprint. If you're why would you be listing this at $1 auction? Why wouldn't you grade it and know for sure? You definitely know it's a reprint, and you're hoping somebody will take a chance that it's not.
Yeah, that's where you just got to use your logic, and if it seems too good to be true, then it probably is too good to be true, and just run.
Yeah, right.
Don't even deal with it.
Well, well, Derek, I think we're gonna bring it to a close here. I highly recommend you go find him on Instagram. We'll leave a link in the description. I think we can leave a link directly to you. Otherwise, we'll tell people how to find you. We really appreciate your time coming on and sharing your Viking stories. It's been a blast.
Yeah.
So that'll bring episode 143. If you hang on the line for a second, we'll chat for a second too afterwards here. But that'll bring episode 143 with Derek from Sheen Collectibles to a close.
Skull Brothers out.